People whispered that the richest man in the city was about to marry a girl no one had ever seen. Not even he had seen her. It was a blind marriage, signed on documents like a business transaction. But no one knew the truth behind it, especially not the mysterious bride who walked into a life she never asked for. Her name was Alina. She was an ordinary girl with extraordinary strength. She worked 2 jobs to support her sick father. Life was never gentle with her, but she never stopped believing that kindness still mattered. When the hospital debt grew beyond control, she received an unusual proposal from a law firm, a marriage agreement. The groom would remain anonymous until the day of the wedding. She would be financially supported, and in exchange, she was to appear as a wife to the world. Alina accepted it with trembling hands. It felt wrong, but it was the only way to save her father. Meanwhile, in a world far away from her struggles, there was Adrian Knight. A CEO whose name alone could silence a room. People said he had everything: money, power, respect, but no one saw the emptiness behind his eyes. Adrian's grandfather had only one wish before passing: to see his grandson married so that the family legacy would not fall into the hands of greedy shareholders. Adrian, cold and distant, agreed to a contractual marriage to satisfy his grandfather's final request. 2 souls destined to collide without ever meeting stood bound by signatures, not love. On the wedding day, a veil covered Alina's face. Adrian, with a mask of emotionless calm, signed the final page of the contract. They exchanged rings but not glances. In front of cameras, they were a perfect couple. Behind closed doors, they were strangers sharing a house built of silence. Days turned to weeks. They rarely spoke. Adrian spent his nights at the office, Alina spent hers caring for her father. She cooked dinner for him every night, leaving it warm on the dining table. He never touched it. Or so she believed. One night, she woke up and found the dining room light on. There he was, the intimidating CEO, eating the dinner she had made. He froze. She froze. Something passed between them, not love yet, but a spark of understanding. Slowly, they learned about each other without meaning to. Adrian discovered she loved to write stories in secret notebooks. Alina discovered he played piano when he couldn't sleep. Their conversations grew longer. Their silence became comfortable, not cold. But every love story has its storm. A tabloid leaked their contract. Headlines filled the news, calling Alina a gold digger. Cameras followed her. People insulted her online. Adrian's board demanded an annulment to protect the company's image. For the first time, Alina's strength broke. She packed her clothes to leave. She had no right to hold him back from his empire. When Adrian came home and saw her bags, something cracked in him. He realized the truth he refused to admit. He had fallen in love with her. "Please don't go," he said, his voice shaking for the first time in years. "You don't owe me anything," she whispered. "You are not part of the contract anymore," he replied. "You are part of my life. Stay. Not as my wife by agreement, but as my wife by choice." She looked into his eyes and saw no lies. They didn't fix everything in one day. The world still judged them. The rumors still hurt. But they faced it together. Adrian publicly declared that the marriage was real, not a transaction. And he said something that made the world listen. Love cannot be bought, but it can be found in the most unexpected places. Months later, Alina's father recovered. Adrian resigned from meetings early to have dinner with her. They took walks together. They laughed more. The mansion that once felt like a golden cage became a home filled with warmth. And one evening, on the balcony where their silence once lived, Adrian kneeled with a new ring, not a contract, not an obligation, but a promise. "Alina, will you marry me again? Not for legacy, not for business, but for forever." This time, she said yes with tears of joy. They had been strangers forced into a contract. Yet, in the quiet moments between unspoken words, they found the kind of love people spend lifetimes searching for. Strong, inspiring message. Sometimes life leads us to places we never planned, through doors we never thought we would enter. And sometimes, behind those doors, we find the love and belonging we always deserved. Love is not always found in fairy tales. It is often discovered in ordinary hearts that refuse to give up on kindness, even when the world is unkind.